Education Matters. Oh, this is Education Matters, not Education Watch. Okay. And Cape August, Monday, November the 5th, 2018. System is another section of the August. They published my article. My normal article is Education Watch. So this one is Education Matters. And it was published on the Monday. Schools reflect society. Quote from my art, that's a title they gave, and then the subheading: to set an example for our youth, we need to adopt new approaches to education, which is a quote from my article. Okay. Quote: schools reflect the society they serve. Unquote. It is hard to accept, but it is a reality to contend with, and efforts must be made to change it if it is something negative. So if there are antisocial behaviors at schools, in staff rooms and classrooms, it is but a reflection of the society and leadership we, quote, uphold, unquote, as a people. Another statement of life that plays itself out at school is, quote, people choose leaders that are like them, unquote. Often departments of education and government bodies choose principals that will perpetuate their controlling ideals at the expense of the staff, pupils, and parents' best interests. Therefore, we can deduce that principals are often appointed to perpetuate the status quo at the expense of the progress of the school. That is a form of bullying, called in politics a kind of fascism, where people are exploited to ensure that they are forced to obey the dictates of those in power. I am touching on this because to usher in a new globally needed holistic leisure learning, HLL, culture, one must first understand whether one perhaps is an oppressor who will even use something as good as HLL to abuse others instead of serving humanity. Having been blessed to pioneer this long-researched HLL wonder in transforming existing education, needed from me major deprogramming, from being a state-qualified, teacher-centered authoritarian to a humble servant of children and parents in what their needs are. And I am still in the process of transformation of self to give true value to HLL. This is where we need each other's input to strengthen our resolve to serve our children with quality education. HLL, Holistic Leisure Learning, and my book, Holistic Curriculum Related Reflections, August 19th of the 9th, 2018, and 11th of the 10th, 2018, bring values back into the education process, but without adults valuing each other and the children. Even such an awesome proposal will be worthless. I'm going to read that piece again. HLL in my book, Holistic Leisure Learning, Holistic Curriculum Related Reflections, August 19, the 9th of 2019, and 11/10, 2018. 19/9, 2018, and 11/10, 2018. Bring values back into the education process, but without adults valuing each other and the children, even such an awesome proposal will be worthless. We need first to acknowledge that every human possesses a unique gem, which we will have to dig for, unquote, to feel truly connected. Only then will we, as teachers, principals, state officials, business, and parents, be able to set an example for our youth. A sign that we have not mastered ourselves is the constant badgering of youth in speeches by religious and academic leaders. Okay, I'm going to read that again. A sign that we have not mastered ourselves is the constant badgering of youth in speeches by religious and academic leaders. It is not the youth that are the problem, They are only imitating bad adult behavior. For example, the unethical tariffs on water usage caused striking university students to leave the taps open to punish the university through high municipality water accounts. Youth learn from us how to bully, gang up, threaten, extort, marginalize, and manipulate. The education crisis is just an alarm clock that calls our attention to our dysfunctional systems and adult imperfections. The attack on teachers are the first line of attack against a falling education and political system that exploits young minds. If schools cannot guarantee a child a job or higher level of education, then why apply an examination system that was designed to identify the various hierarchical positions in the industry? Because there are only 0.1% jobs available in the formal sector. We are stressing our young people to the extent that teenage suicides are rising. If one child's life is not valuable for us to reconsider our systems and adopt new approaches that is holistically promising, then we have failed being human. The holistic leisure learning is available with one textbook for all grades that accelerates and advances education holistically and leisurely. Is a boon that should be welcomed. Any attempt to marginalize this 28-year qualitative research of mine will simply be folly and prejudicial. Two characteristics of someone that has not grown up. A lament we constantly express to young people while we practice hypocrisy. That is hard, but for those who are serious, it is paramount to be reflective. I'm going to read that piece again. Any attempt to marginalize this 28-year qualitative research that is of mine will simply be folly and prejudicial. Two characteristics of someone that has not grown up. A lament we constantly express to young people while we practice hypocrisy. That is hard, but for those who are serious, it is paramount to be reflective. We must remember children can see through us. That is why we often shut them up, because we do not want to hear our shortcomings. But if we want a better education, we must better ourselves. Let's open the floor for discussion and implementation of the goodness of holistic leisure learning. And more of other people's goodness will surface. I would like to quote Chris Hedges in his speech that introduces his book, America, The Farewell Tour. When he asked Father Daniel Berrigan what faith was, the priest answered, "It is the belief that the good draws towards the good, even if all the empirical evidence around you says otherwise." I'm quote again, the quote that he quotes, "It is the belief," the priest answered, "It is the belief," what faith is. When he asked Father Daniel Berrigan what faith was, the priest answered, "It is the belief that the good draws toward the good, even if all the empirical evidence around you says otherwise." We must have faith that we can make a difference. We often believe that the state must provide the solutions because we vote and pay taxes. But if it is not forthcoming and we have the means, then we must act. Action is lasting and progressive. At the bottom, Muhammad Fadil Arnold has 43 years teaching experience from grade 1 to college level. His blog is Book Helper. End of the article. Shukran.